Hey guys, it's Ivy back with another speed paint. It's been a little while since I've been able to do one of these, but here we are. I have this one, so let's do it. I went through quite the journey this month on this print. If you were part of my Patreon, of course you have seen that, because the first sketch that I did was something wildly different than what I usually do. I mean, I feel like a lot of my art is these kind of like cute witchy girls and a cool background, and I do like that art a lot, but sometimes I feel like I should be branching out more into other stuff. So I tried to do kind of more of a fantasy thing originally, in like a less, I don't know, domestic fantasy kind of way. And I don't know, I wasn't really vibing with it. So it's not that I don't want to try to branch out into different things, but it's definitely a mixture, because I know that being consistent in style and content is actually really helpful for a business or, you know, like an artist, because it's more recognizable instead of having like a wide range of different things, which I already feel like I have a pretty wide range because I do a lot of different styles of rendering. And I don't know, I hear that kind of a lot, that it's like, oh my god, your portfolio looks like it's like 5 different people, which I don't really personally see, but I do hear that sometimes. So I don't know, I want to do all the things, but today, or this month rather, I went back to my roots after making an attempt at something kind of different that I didn't really like how it was turning out. So kind of went back into the comfort zone, but of course I never go fully into the comfort zone because I always feel like I'm not trying hard enough if it's too simple. So this one is very detailed, and wow, it took a long time to do all these like tedious little details, though I love it. Like, I love art that has that kind of thing in it, and I think I'm getting better at executing that and planning those things. Believe it or not, I actually meant to add even more of that to this piece, and by the end of it, when it actually came time that I would have added it, I was like, oh, actually I'm tired and I don't feel like doing that. So either way, here we are with our beautiful piece. I used a lot of different references from all kinds of places to put this together. Like, I think the lighting is kind of one reference. The desk stuff is kind of 2 references, and the little ferret has its own reference, and the drawers in the back have their own reference, and then the girl is pretty freehand. But I wanted her to have like a more like a Disney face than I usually do. So I kind of tried to do something a little bit different there. Kind of trying to simplify and make it look a little cutesier. I don't know. This is kind of a hard angle to do when it's like so turned. It's not like a full profile. I think usually doing the other way is kind of easier. Like if you have both eyes that are like a little bit visible, or if you can see the farther eyes like eyelash or something, that's usually more what I do. So doing it the other way, where it's like facing away from you a little bit, but you can still see the profile, is kind of difficult, because sometimes it sort of just looks like you tried to draw like a straight on like side profile, but kind of did it wrong. So I mean, I think it turned out okay. The original sketch, I think the ear was kind of far back, so that does get pushed up a little bit later on. But I fully used Max Packs again for this piece, which I pretty much exclusively use when I'm doing Procreate pieces. It's honestly the reason why I even use Procreate a lot of the time, because I am obsessed with the watercolor brushes from that Max Pack. And I also love using the mechanical pencil from the comics pack. I use it frequently, but I think that combo really can create a storybook feel for me, which I really love using. It has like a real illustrative vibe, and it kind of reminds me of like, I don't know, children's books or like puzzles, or it just has like a real cozy feeling, which I love. So I really like that you can kind of easily build up texture just in doing the line work, or quote unquote line work, because It's not really like super clean line art, but it functions that way, so I guess it's fine. But just being able to use like a pencil sketch for my lines works really well for me because I don't love to do really clean line art anymore. I pretty much don't even know the last time I did that. Maybe like Fisher Gal last year or something was the last time I did like really detailed clean line work. It really doesn't happen very often for me because I just love to have the freedom to be a little bit messy. You'll also see me tracing some stuff here, which I do this sometimes with plants or things that I'm really bad at freehanding. Like, I'll just grab a reference and trace over it. If it's like a specific part of like an interior or something like that, I don't think it's a problem at all to just trace. 'Cause like, who cares really? As long as it's like not stealing something from someone. I think if you just like trace a plant, who cares about that? I don't know. I guess if you're a photographer of this interior and you really hate that I stole the shape of your plant, let me know. I'll do something else. But it just really helps speed up my workflow. So I do something a little bit different. I say a lot like I do a different process for a lot of my pieces, just depending on like what I want to work on, like how I want to work. A lot of the time I'll do like a full value layer, if that makes sense. Like I won't be doing like coloring for an individual section, like section by section. It's actually pretty rare that I do this method, but if I have a really solid vision of what the colors are going to be, what the lighting is, I like working this way a lot. It has like a real meditative quality to it where I can really focus on each individual section's details. Where if I'm kind of like building something up as like an overall piece, I tend to do less of that. I'm still using the mechanical pencil a lot for even the coloring stage, and I also just love how versatile that brush is because you can use it for your general line work and then go ahead and like also use it for detail coloring, and everything kind of feels more cohesive that way. It just feels really good to use for me. But I'm also using the watercolor brushes, of course, to kind of get these bases down. And I use a combo of kind of like a hard brush and softer brushes to build it up. And it has a traditional feel to it, even though it does feel digital in the end. I don't know, it just has more of like a classic illustrative thing when I work with like heavy textures like this. Using texture in your pieces is kind of hard anyway. Like, I mean, I've heard from different people that they'll only use like 5 brushes for a piece, and I think that is true for me as well. Like, I'll kind of go forward with one feeling that kind of feels like the piece, and that might be using, literally just like the default Photoshop brushes of just like hard round and soft round. Sometimes that's the vibe if it's more like comic-y or something, and sometimes I'll really go into like the oil brushes and I'll just want to grab texture from like 3 different brushes, or same with the watercolor. And I kind of love doing the watercolor for like not summer. I don't know if that makes sense. Like summer to me, I get into a very specific mindset of like pop art, bright colors. It feels like the beach. It feels like video games for some reason to me. I don't know. It just has like a real kind of skater pop art feeling when it's hot out. And then as soon as it starts to be like fall and winter, I want to do all of this like cozy puzzle art where everything is like textured and a little old fashioned and just really has that like cozy feeling. And watercolor helps me so much with that, or the watercolor textures or whatever. I feel like I associate that really strongly with the illustrative nature of like reading Christmas books. Oh, they're so cute, or Christmas cards or whatever. Like, I don't know, it just has like a vintage vibe to it. And I love getting into the vibe of like the month that I'm working on too. It's like every month is like a new experience for me where I kind of embody like what I'm creating for the whole month, which it happened really naturally, but when I think about how that's come about, it's kind of like, oh wow, that's actually kind of changed my life a little bit. Like since I started doing Patreon, since I started doing this, I really like envelop myself in a mood for a month. I think I used to kind of do that in a different way because I was doing fan art before, and I would get really into like the series that I was doing fan art for, especially if I had a piece that was taking a really long time and it was like an anime or a show that I could put on in the background while I was creating. Like it would kind of get me in the mood. I would binge a series or whatever, and it would be like this associative thing with what I was creating. But since I'm not associating with series so much anymore and making my own thing, it's more about like the mood that I'm capturing, and I kind of try to embody it in a way. I mean, not that my life changes drastically, but even if it's like the little things like, oh, I really feel like having a specific flavor of coffee or tea or the color of my nails or the candle I'm burning or like that's the stuff that's been happening to me lately for this kind of fall coziness. I've been doing a lot of room renovations lately in the studio. So when I moved away for like 9 months to PA, my mom kind of had, turned this bedroom into like a guest space a little bit. So there was quite a bit of mom art around, which there still is, and I actually kind of like it. It looks really nice. But there was kind of like a big wall space that used to have my Van Gogh poster up there, like a pretty big space. Like it was a lot of wall space. So there was kind of a large landscape there that was just really not my particular vibes. So I really wanted cabinets there because it's right over where all my order packing space is, and I need more space anyway. So I finally have the cabinets up. My dad made them specifically for me, which was also kind of an adventure because they're not quite 100% right. Like, sorry, Dad, because it's very, very sweet that he made me cabinets, and I love him for that. But he had never really made them before, and basically the real problem is that the hinges that he chose are just like not quite tight enough. So the doors are both kind of like wah, like they sag down under the weight of the door. So they're a little bit wonky, and we're still trying to figure that out. And I ordered some handles that aren't here yet. And one of the specifications that I wanted, oh my God, guys, I'm bad at planning things, I guess, because my original plan was that I was going to get some IKEA cabinets, right? And I was also going to get some of those IKEA pegboards and like drill them onto the front of the cabinet so I could have like a pegboard space. And also I love all the IKEA like accessories for the pegboard. I just think they're so cute. So I was originally going to order them off IKEA, but as we were doing like the measurements for the options that they had that were like in my price range, I was like, none of these are quite the size that I wanted. Like I can't even remember. I think they were too tall or something. So Dad's like, oh, whatever, I'll just make it. And I was like, oh, okay, work. And he also happened to have some pegboards around. But they're just like the standard pegboards. And here I am thinking that pegboards are just a normal household item, and that surely for all of the like craft moms that have pegboards in their cute craft offices, I just expected that there would be a large market for like cute pegboard accessories for like a standard pegboard. But every time I go and look for like cute pegboard accessories, they're all made for the god dang IKEA like thing because they have their own holes. I'm sorry, this is so boring. Whatever. So, point being, I'm working on it because I don't just want like standard silver pegboard things, which is basically the only thing that I can freaking find for a reasonable price. I feel like I'm gonna end up paying like big buck money for cute pegboard accessories because I'm ridiculous. So, and you know what? I really thought that they would have like more color options too. Like some people would be into like pastel pegboard. Like, oh my God, you guys, I'm starting to think that I need to quit doing art and just become a pegboard business owner and create cute pegboards and pegboard accessories. I feel like it would be so successful because how many people must have like a standard pegboard and all they can freaking get for it is like silver boring pegboard things like your dad's garage for tools. But so many people use those for like their sewing spaces and like craft spaces and studios and whatever. I just can't believe that there's not more cute. Okay, whatever. Anyway, vent over, but I've been redoing my space a little bit because my cabinets are up. And they look really good. I love them. And they're very practical, of course, because I have way more storage space now, which is amazing. And I want to keep adding more merch and earrings. And my previous setup was sort of like, oh, they're all in a bin. Like, they're all just in one big fat Walmart bin. So things are getting much more professional and better. And I love that for me. So just like kind of having a new space and really deep cleaning. And then, I don't know, just kind of enjoying my own little corner is kind of my inspiration for this wonderful piece. So I love this feeling of just like being in a space that's beautiful and calming and cozy and really feels like you. So I hope you guys enjoyed this piece because I really liked working on it and I'm proud of it. And it was a nice compliment to what's going on in my life. And I feel like it does feel like September. So hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching and enjoy my ramblings. Okay, bye.